and welcome to Scam Likely, the podcast that talks about all the scams affecting residents across Cobb County. My name is Diana Ogilvy. I'm with the Cobb County Sheriff's Office, and I'm sitting here with Investigator Munoz, who has been with the Cobb County Sheriff's Office for about 18 years. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
All right, so today we're talking about the romance scam. Now, you have investigated many romance scams.
Mm-hmm.
Please define that for us.
It's usually happens. People meet through social media, and they develop a relationship. And to me, it's the most devious of all the types of scams because they don't have a sense of urgency like all the other ones create. And the criminals take their time to really learn everything about the person. And when you're in a relationship, you know, the victim is being open and honest and talking about all their interests and stuff, and the criminal is sitting back and listening and looking for vulnerable points and how they can use that information to later on ask them to extract money from them. And there have been many times, and just this week, where I've gone to the home of somebody who's actively in the middle of a romance scam, and the family has tried. She had a grandson, the one that comes to mind. He spent a week with her, and she's convinced that she's dealing with somebody famous, an actor, and she's not buying it. She's already sent, I don't know exact dollar amounts because she didn't want to talk about it, and she's in the process of selling her home today, as a matter of fact.
To do what?
To go on a honeymoon with this with this famous actor. And
so if he's a famous actor, why does he need money?
I can't go into what it is he's told her because she wouldn't share that with me. But that's how ingrained, and that's why I say it's so devious, because they won't listen to family. They won't listen to anybody. They buy it hook, line, and sinker, and at some point she will realize that it's happening, and it's tragic, because not only will she be heartbroken, but she will feel very foolish and bad. Yes, it's a hard crash to come from, to have everything you've worked hard for, deceived, to get it out of you. I've had, there have been success stories. Well, what I see as a success, like I can think of someone who lost like 7 figures, and when I went to her home, it's impossible to not be intrusive when you're talking to somebody, because you're asking them about their finances. And she got, this one lady in particular got very, very upset that I was asking about her finances. But I always give my business card, so if they want to complain about me, they know who to complain about. And through the grace of God, she put my card up on her refrigerator, and one of her daughters saw it, came over, and she called me, and then I was able to talk to her, and one thing led to another, and she brought mom in, and then we got mom to see the light. And even though she lost 7 figures, she still had half of more, like another 7 figures still sitting in the bank that the criminals would have gotten had she not seen, realized that she was being scammed.
So the romance scam, it just seems, as you say, it is the most dangerous, and it's like the most insidious, I think, right? Because people are being preyed on. So how are they finding their victims?
Social media, and I think like it happens a lot with the elderly, and
so people who are lonely.
Because they're a great generation. Their word, their was their bond, their signature, their handshake. When they told you something, you could take that to the bank. They're very trusting. They grew up in the better times. You could leave your doors open. So that's all ingrained in them, and I believe these criminals know that, and so they do. It's a numbers game. They reach out, they send out emails, texts, in hopes that they come across one of these people from this generation, and if they find the right one, it's very lucrative.
So all it takes is one. So they'll cast a wide net. Because I'm thinking, like, what can people do via their social media profiles to not give away too much? Because the whole point of social media, especially for, my generation and younger, is to, showcase your life, and not necessarily how great your life is, but to be a little bit more in touch with the world. But now, apparently, that is being used as bait.
Yeah. And with the elderly, like, how do you counter that? If you check on your parents,
yeah.
If you have grandparents, or your parents are older,
check on your people.
Yeah, check on them on a daily basis. I do it with mine. I check on them every 24 hours. We live very far apart, but every day I know what's gone on in say my mom's life, so that. Because I know what a dangerous world we live in, and that the same criminals that are doing this damage to my community will reach out to my mom. It's a worldwide problem. It's not just here in the U.S.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you mentioned worldwide, and I'm wondering, in Cobb County, are there any countries in particular? Because there's certain countries, unfortunately, that have the stigma of, this is a romance scam. Like, I'm from Jamaica. I'm Jamaican. So there's always this thing like there's a romance scam because there's this sexy Jamaican man on a beach that loves me. And
I don't think it's when I first started out, there was quite a few scams that seemed to be generated or tied to Nigeria. Mm-hmm. But nowadays, there's no telling, and it's coming from all over.
Yeah.
There's no like one country that I'd say it's the headquarters or the ground zero. It's literally I was in Europe and it's there too. I took a taxi, and he had like 2 attempts on his cell phone. So it's like everywhere you go, it's everybody's, not everybody's doing it, but there's a criminal element that goes beyond everybody's borders.
Yeah, well, that's a relief. Are there any other romance scam examples? Because you've mentioned the elderly for sure. Any other generation that have fallen prey to that? They just don't care.
It's not specific to an age, even though it's the ones the biggest ones that I hear about is the elderly, because they've been around for so long, and they're more likely to have a pension or a retirement or have a savings that they've collected from over. So they're a prime target. Yeah, but it happens to younger. It's just that statistically, unless you're born into wealth, you don't have enough time to have amassed it. But young people lose money too.
Okay, so what are the rates of coming back in terms of if someone reports this to the Cobb County Sheriff's Office? Has there been any leeway in getting their money back, or once it's gone because they've voluntarily gave that money over?
It's gone, but not because they voluntarily gave it over. It's because more often than not, it's gone out of the country. It's gone into cryptocurrency, and so that's why it's impossible to next to impossible to get it back. We've had some success at getting partial or some of it back, but the vast majority of the times, and the delay too in reporting it, just like with the romance scam, I said sometimes they can go a year or more. Well, the more time that's passed, and it's people will give money multiple times. So the longer it's been, the harder it is to get it back, if at all.
What are some of the longest cons? Because these are cons. What's some times that you've seen? How many years or months?
there's one that I can think of that I recently did a fraud presentation at a senior assisted living place where she lives, and from the staff, and this had been 2 years prior, and from when I spoke to the staff, she's still
2 years.
She's still doing it. Yeah.
So do they meet these people? Do these
No,
people
they-
ever? So they never come through the computer
No.
into real life.
No.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It's done through phone, text, and sometimes like now I'm getting where they think they're talking to them, like they say, well, I FaceTimed them, but there's software where I can make myself look like anybody, and and the mouth will move.
A famous actor.
Yeah, and and AI is probably good for information and a lot of good things, but no matter what the technology is, a criminal's always going to find a way to use it to commit crime.
And with regards to romance scams, because I, in particular, would feel very foolish. How are people reporting this? What's the rate? Is it a lot, or are people just like so embarrassed? I don't even want to.
That's one thing I'd say they all share in common, is that their embarrassment is a big part of it. I tell them when I'm talking to them that as part of like a healing process is to share that information as embarrassing as it might be, and I tell them, tell anybody that you know that in your age group that's capable of tell them that it happened to somebody you've known your entire life, somebody you're very close to. Now you're not lying, and you're helping to get the word so it doesn't happen to them.
Yeah, because I heard someone say the other day, shame thrives in the shadows. So even though it might be embarrassing, you have to tell your story because it has to go out.
I tell them it's a way of taking this terrible thing that's happened to you and turning it into something good by helping it to not happen to someone else.
So if someone has been victimized by a romance scam, what's the phone number that they can call in Cobb County?
770-499-4639.
All right. And there you have it. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Scam Likely, where if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Tune in next time.